Welcome back to Only Talk Sports. We talk sports every single day, or at least we try to. I'm Ernest Jeffrey. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our video. College football has been insane this year with a lot of teams like Indiana and Vanderbilt who don't normally have success. They're having great football seasons. But with that comes a lot of great programs that are really struggling this year. And that means there are a lot of coaches on the hot seat. And none of these guys have been fired yet, but a lot of these guys could end up getting fired before the end of the season, and some of them might get another year, but if they don't turn it around soon, are going to end up getting the pink slip. I'm going to go over my top 10 list of college football coaches on the hot seat, and some people are going to disagree and say some should be higher, some should be lower, but every list can be subjective. But I'm going to do my best to sort through these college football coaches and see which ones I think could get fired first. Now, on my honorable mentions, I do have a few, and some of these guys could end up on the list in the future of coaches that could end up getting fired. But for now, I just don't think that they are in the top 10 just yet. First, I got Ryan Day. And even though he has not been able to beat Michigan, even though it looks like he has a great shot to beat him this year, if he lost to Michigan this year, then he would be in big trouble. They did just lose to Oregon, but Ryan Day's recruiting very well. He's got a fantastic record. And only at a program like Ohio State or Alabama would a guy like Ryan Day be on the hot seat, because he's done a great job there, but he just needs to end up winning a little bit more to make sure that he is safe. Then I got Mack Brown. Mack Brown, to me, even though some people would have him in the top 10, I just feel like it is more likely that Mack Brown retires than him getting fired from North Carolina. He has been struggling lately, but I just think that Mack Brown will retire before he ends up getting fired. Then you got Mike Locksley. He's taken Maryland, a program that doesn't normally have a lot of success, to several bowl games. This year, they're kind of struggling. They did just knock off USC, but I do think that Mike Locksley's subpar record at Maryland does give him a decent chance of getting in the hot seat list rather soon. But for now, he is just in the honorable mentions. Then I got Mark Stoops, because even though Kentucky's not a football school, they're a basketball school. He's done a lot of great things there. Kentucky's struggling this year. And in the SEC, even if you've done a lot of great things in the past, if you start struggling in the future, you're going to end up on hot seat lists. He does have a big contract at Kentucky, though, so he probably isn't going to get fired anytime soon. But Mark Stoops is in the honorable mentions. Hugh Freeze is in the honorable mentions. He's a guy that can move up the list very quickly if he keeps on losing at Auburn. He's recruiting very well. He hasn't been there long enough yet for me to think that Auburn would fire him, but he is a name to watch. And then you got Justin Wilcox, the epitome of mediocrity at Cal. He has a below 500 record. He's taken Cal to a couple bowl games, but other than that, they have not had a lot of success. I think that Justin Wilcox is a guy that if he just keeps on taking Cal to sub 500 seasons, he eventually will get fired, and they are struggling in the ACC so far this season, but Cal's not a program that has high standards, so he is okay for now, I guess. And then there are a few other guys you could put on the list maybe, but most of them haven't really been coaches at their school very long, and that is why they are not on the hot seat list just yet. But to move on to the top 10, I've got Kalen DeBoer at number 10, and a lot of people are going to be like, why do you have Kalen DeBoer at number 10 when he is in his first season at Alabama? And he is 5-2 right now, but you are following the GOAT, the greatest coach of all time, in Nick Saban, and you are at Alabama, a team that all they expect is national championships and nothing less. And you just lost to Vanderbilt and Tennessee, two teams that you don't normally lose to. Alabama lost to Tennessee, yes, in 2022, and they're a whole lot better, but Alabama hasn't lost to neither of those schools since 1984 in the same season. Vanderbilt was an embarrassing loss. Yeah, they beat Georgia, but Alabama's struggling right now, and they could end up losing 3 or 4 games before the season is over. And if that happens with tough games against Oklahoma and LSU, and if they drop those games, Kalen DeBoer definitely, his seat could get a whole lot hotter. And I know he's going to get another year, but things are definitely trending in the wrong direction. The team looks way worse than last year, which some people said that was to be expected. I still think Kalen DeBoer is a great coach, but at a team like Alabama, you got to win at a high level. He's not doing enough right now. I got Kalen DeBoer at number 10. PJ Fleck's at number 9. And yes, he's done a lot of great things at Minnesota, a team that it is tough to recruit at, it's tough to have success at, and he is 54-37 there, and they are 4-3 this year, but still Minnesota has definitely been trending in the wrong direction. Overall, they have had a lot less success than they had earlier on his tenure, especially that 2019 season where they were really good. He had a couple 9-4 seasons early in the 2020s, but still overall, PJ Fleck definitely struggling right now. It is a tough place to win at, and he's done well, and they did beat USC USC this season, which isn't saying a whole lot because of the fact USC is really struggling. But PJ Fleck and his used car salesman mentality that a lot of people say, it just kind of seems like it's wearing a bit thin, and a couple more rough seasons could end up making PJ Fleck be on the way out. But right now he's at number 9. Brent Venables is at number 8, and some people would say he should be higher. I know. He is 20-13 at Oklahoma and 4-3 this year, but there's a lot of other coaches that their seats are hotter as of right now. But he is dramatically moving up the list because Oklahoma just joined the SEC, and it just doesn't look like they are ready to have success in the SEC. And on my Twitter poll, a lot of people think Brent Venables has the hottest seat. I don't agree with that, which is why he's at number 8. But still, he is in big trouble right now because of the fact that Oklahoma does not look like they're going to be able to compete in the SEC in the future. His defense, which is his calling card, is not that great. It's not the worst, but it's not that great. And their offense is terrible, a far cry from the Lincoln Riley era. So definitely, if Brent Venables keeps on losing and they go 6-6 or 7-5 this year, he might get one more year. But then after that, if he has another bad year, Brent Venables probably will be on the way out, and Oklahoma will be looking for a new head coach. They don't have the expectations of Alabama or Ohio State, but they still have high enough expectations. They want to go 10-2, 9-3, 11-1, and it looks like Brent Venables is not going to deliver in that regard. He's at number 8. Then Sam Pittman's at number 7. He's 27-28 at Arkansas. They're 4-3 this year. He's done great things at Arkansas. Love Sam Pittman. Bang that drum. It's been very fun seeing him turn around Arkansas, and he was very good with KJ Jefferson and Traylon Burks, but they've been a whole lot worse recently. Yeah, they beat Tennessee this year. That has cooled his seat down a little bit. They did just struggle against LSU, though, and I think that Sam Pittman, with the amount of tough teams that there are in the SEC, I just have a hard time seeing him being able to turn around Arkansas completely. If he can make a bowl game this year, that would cool his seat down a bit, but I don't know, though. They still have a tough stretch down the rest of the season. It's going to be very tough for him to continue to have high success. Bobby Petrino has helped a little bit, but I think Sam Pittman is a candidate to definitely move into the top 5 of the hot seat list, especially going into next year if Arkansas struggles down the rest of the season. Then you got Ryan Walters at number 6, and right now he might actually should be in the top 5 because he's got allegations going on right now that I don't know if they are true or not, but if they are true, then Ryan Walters might get fired very soon. But he only is in his 2nd season at Purdue, and when they had the Darrell Hazel era, Purdue was really bad, and he got more than 2 seasons. So Purdue's not a team with super high expectations, but they are coming off the Jeff Brom era where they did have some success, including knocking off Ohio State back in 2018. So Ryan Walters is in big trouble. Only 5-14 right now, 1-6 this year. They are truly a horrible football team. Under normal circumstances, he should probably get another year because it is a team like Purdue, but with the allegations, you never know. I can't say if they're true, but I got Ryan Walters at number 6, but he could move up the list very quickly, even in the coming weeks. Then you got Lincoln Riley at number 5, and I would have him in the top 3 of the list if he did not have an $88 million buyout. I just don't think USC is going to fire Lincoln Riley with that much money left on his buyout. Maybe they'd be insane like A&M and Jimbo Fisher, but I don't know if they got the oil money. They do have the LA money, but still, he's 3-4 this year, and he's only 5-9 in his last 14 games. So Lincoln Riley's in big trouble, and if he loses guys like Julian Lewis to Indiana and some of these other recruits that they have right now that are looking to maybe go to some other programs, he could be fired very, very soon, but I just don't see it with that big buyout. That's the only thing keeping him right now at number 5. He's only 22-12 at USC. They expect more than that. And losing to teams like Maryland and Minnesota in the Big Ten that USC fans would have never thought that they would have lost to at the beginning of the season, Lincoln Riley's in trouble. His seat is on fire right now, but that buyout is definitely saving him for now, and he still has the potential to turn around USC. So I got Lincoln Riley at 5. Neil Brown's at number 4. He's 34-33 at West Virginia, and they're 3-4 this year, and he's basically like Justin Wilcox, the epitome of mediocrity, except he's at a better program in West Virginia than Wilcox is at California. Neil Brown is a guy that I feel like should have already been fired at West Virginia, especially considering Dana Holgorsen was 61-41 at West Virginia, and he got fired. He did better, still got the axe, but for whatever reason, the AD at West Virginia just keeps on giving Neil Brown chances. And yeah, they've had a tough schedule so far this season, but they haven't beaten any of the teams that they have played, and most of those games were at home. They should have at least gotten one big upset. Haven't been able to get it done. He has not recruited very well. I just don't think Neil Brown's a great coach. And West Virginia fans saying that he was a great coach after last year when they had a soft schedule and they beat North Carolina in the bowl game when they barely had any of their good players in that game, I think it's kind of insane. This is what Neil Brown is. He's just an average coach that should be fired, but West Virginia, even with a low buyout, does not seem to want to give him the pink slip, which is why I only have him at number 4, but he definitely should be a guy that probably should get the axe. Then Mike Norvell's at number 3. He's 32-23 at Florida State, 1-6 this year. And the only reason I don't have him any higher is because his buyout is at $64 million. His buyout is massive as well. And Florida State definitely doesn't have as much money as Texas A&M. So I just feel like Mike Norvell is going to be safe at least for this season. But man, the team is tapped out. That is such an unfortunate thing. Mike Norvell missed out on all of these transfers this year, unlike last year when he had the Keon Coleman's and the Jared Verzes. Those guys were great. The guys he's brought in this year have absolutely failed. His team has quit on him. And if he goes like 2-10, maybe they might just go in and get rid of Mike Norvell. But maybe if they win 3 or 4 games, they'll give him another year. You know, Mike Norvell is going to use the portal again, and maybe it will be the inverse where they have a lot of success again. And yeah, he did have 2 great seasons, especially the undefeated year in the regular season with Jordan Travis. They were fantastic that year. All of that might save him, including the buyout for now. But Mike Norvell, his seat is burning hot right now. He probably arguably should be the number 1 guy on the hot seat, but that buyout and the fact he had the great season last year could save him for now. But I got Mike Norvell at number 3. Dave Aranda's at number 2, and he's a guy probably no one's talking about when it comes to the hot seat. He's 26-29 at Baylor, and they're 3-4 this year. He did just get a good win over Texas Tech, but overall, outside of one season where they went 12-2 at Baylor, Dave Aranda's been awful with the Bears. Outside of that season, his record is 14-27, so he's been pretty awful, and it sucks to see because I was really high on Dave Aranda after that season where they went 12-2. Thought he's one of the up-and-coming coaches in college football, but everything is just tanked after that season. And really, Dave Aranda should be a guy that's getting talked about a lot more to be fired, but since Baylor's just kind of fallen off a cliff and they're irrelevant right now again, no one's talking about it, but he did get the win over Texas Tech, like I said earlier. Maybe he still has a shot to turn it around, but he's not recruiting as well as some of these other teams in the Big 12. And the fact that he is in the Big 12 and it's easier competition, same thing with Neil Brown. It's not like you're in the Big 10 or the SEC and you're still really struggling. I think Dave Aranda is going to get the pink slip very soon. Wouldn't be surprised if it is by the end of the season, unless somehow he can make a bowl game. Doesn't seem likely, but maybe it's a little bit more likely getting that one over Texas Tech. But Dave Aranda in big trouble, probably going to get fired soon. Has a lot lower of a buyout than some of these other schools, but I have him at number 2. And the only reason that he is not at number 1 is because you got Billy Napier at Florida, who's 15-17, and they're 4-3 this year. Yeah, he started out 4-3, and that has somewhat cooled his number 1 hot seat down just a bit, but he's still the number 1 guy on the hot seat list because he doesn't have as big of a buyout as Mike Norvell and Lincoln Riley. So Florida could fire him right now if they wanted to and hire someone else like Curt Cignetti that they desperately want. That I hope does not happen. I don't want him to go to Florida. But the Florida Gators, even though Billy Napier is recruited well and he's doing everything he can to turn around the team, even putting DJ Lagway in a little bit, even though now he's forced to because Graham Mertz got injured, and they do look a little bit better with Lagway, but the schedule to end the season is completely brutal. And at best, maybe they could go 5-7 or 6-6. If he can make a bowl game, I think that Billy Napier could save his job. But if he goes under that, then Florida might just go ahead and fire him and hire someone else, as there are a lot of great coaching candidates right now that they could possibly get. But Billy Napier, he hasn't been there too long, and some people say he still deserves a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, especially because they were only predicted to win 4 games coming into the year. And like I said, winning 5 or 6 games, that would be better than expectations. But Florida fans, they want more than that. They don't care about 6-6 being better than expectations. They want to win 8, 9, and 10 games, and they're not getting it done. So Billy Napier, he could be fired at any day if they start losing some games down the stretch of the season, starting with the Georgia game next week. I have Billy Napier with the hottest seat in college football right now out of all the hot seat coaches. Now, those are my top 10 college football hot seat coaches. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Which guys I got wrong, that they should be higher up on the list or lower on the list, or some names I didn't even mention at all that should be on the hot seat list. I think that, like I said, every single hot seat list could be subjective. All of these guys' hot seats are on fire, especially the guys in the top 5 or 6. But I do believe that all of these coaches could end up getting fired by the end of the season, and some of them still have a chance to save their job, and only time will tell whether they do or not. But subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Like this video down below. Follow me on Twitter as well. Link is in the description, and I'll see you next time.